The CPI numbers came in to what exactly was expected. Now, what is the Fed going to do tomorrow? Next. Those articles, as well as what is everyone talking about with rates here? I mean, rates have a lot to do going on with the Fed, with quantitative easing, with purchasing mortgage-backed securities. That actually is the formula, not just what everyone else thinks of the bond market being the only place that people go to figure out where rates at. All this is next on Real Estate Daily. Welcome, everyone. My name is Troy, and every day we go over the latest news in real estate, housing, and the mortgage markets. Now, before we jump into it, do me a favor, hit that like button. I'm going to give you the best 5 to 10 minutes in real estate on a daily basis. Now, let's jump into this. So what actually happened today? There you go. So what actually happened today was we had the Fed, the CPI numbers came in at 3.1. It was supposed to be 3.1. If you break the numbers down, nothing exciting here. Everything was in line. What it did actually come to me and make me feel is that exactly what the Fed's been saying over and over. They're going to keep rates at this level or rates longer higher. What does that mean? We're not going to lower rates. No, we're not going to higher rates. We're just going to keep them stagnant, just like our economy is turning into stagnation. And we're going to keep them there until we see something either break or we see that the economy then heats right back up and I'm going to raise it. So that's what they're looking for. Now, that's what we're looking for tomorrow, from the Fed. That's my prediction. That means they're not raising rates or not lowering them. They're going to keep them where they're at. Now, if they see, and again, every single day we keep seeing two things that are happening over and over that is scaring me personally about the economy going into the dumps, which would be good for the housing market because that would mean mortgage rates would fall down as well with them. Two things. One, I keep seeing job layoffs. Hasbro just laid off another 1,100 people. I keep seeing just in line, another company. And guys, let's make this clear. What happens in the stock market isn't the economy, okay? When you keep lowering expectations and then hitting those lowered expectations, then people get excited and they put their money, their retirement funds or funds into the market. That's not the economy, not at all, okay? Nothing. The second thing that really scares me is that I keep seeing founders, CEOs, and high, CFOs, high people up in these companies. They keep pulling money out of their companies, right? They keep selling off stocks at crazy numbers, like $1 billion. I just saw that. What came out today was Warren Buffett in the first 3 quarters of the year sold off $47 billion worth of stock. He only bought very little. He's been selling his stock off. Now, that if he's doing it, and CEOs like Jamie Dimon and Zuckerberg, for Meta, and everybody. I mean, literally everyone is soliciting the Exchange Commission to go ahead and sell their stocks off. The founders of Walmart, same thing. It continues to happen. They're expecting a huge problem in the future, a huge problem in the economy. And I think what they're seeing is the same thing we're seeing. Jobs are not here, right? There's no new jobs. So when you get laid off before you can bounce into something else, you still can, but it's going to be much lower. So you're making a lot less. So do I go on unemployment? That's what we're seeing. And with that being said, that's what the Fed has to take in consideration because all the big names out there are saying the economy's in trouble. All right, so here's CNBC today. Rates are going to stay where they are for the foreseeable future, says TriPoint CEO Doug Beyer. Again, TriPoint is a new builder. They don't do any resale loans whatsoever. They're not looking at the resale side. They're 9% of the market. He says the rates are going to stay where they're at. Well, where they're at is, the in the sixes, in the high sixes. We're going to see that next. What's another way? So besides the Fed lowering rates, it also is quantitative easing and mortgage-backed securities. Well, the Fed for 2-3 years bought mortgage-backed securities and they own so much of that mortgage-backed securities. Well, when they bought them, there was hardly any risk because if it goes bad, the Fed just eats the money. But when you're selling them off to JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley, they have a risk factor in it. And they usually, the risk factor is 1.5% base or 150 basis points. Yes, you're hearing it right. 150 basis points. So if we look at it, we're typically looking at, if you really want to understand rates, we're looking at what the rates are today, plus 150 basis points. That's the margin that lenders want to make, plus another 150 basis points, which would be what the risk factor is holding those interests, those mortgage-backed securities. That's why if you took today, and we're going to go over it, 4.21, so we're basically seeing rates in the 7.21. Again, 150 basis points is what the lender makes. 150 basis points is when they sell off. That means they get the loan, they take it, and they sell it off to whatever, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, where BlackRock buys them, Fidelity buys them, whoever was buying mortgage-backed securities, they have a risk factor of 150 basis points. That's where that's why rates are so high. Now, that number can be adjusted if the Fed does quantitative easing. But the problem is if they do, then those mortgage-backed securities go onto their balance sheet, which already shows this big negative. Now, when it's all said and done, if these loans go 30 years out, and for 30 years now, the Fed's going to be making a good money. The problem is it's at 2.75 interest rate, so it's not that great of money compared to what Morgan Stanley wants to make or Fidelity wants to make. So, all right. How do I lower it? How do I lower that besides the Fed? Well, I lower it by technology. And let me go show you this. This is technology. Loandepot launches fully automated underwriting engine. You eliminate job and human beings. And I've said this many times before. AI is going to disrupt the loan mortgage industry big time. They can literally do virtually everything a lender can do except for that personality, that warmth, that person talking on the other end. And obviously you could have an AI bot do that for you, have a real nice voice and talk about it. But if you have but it's not relationship building, you're not going to go back and talk to a bot, nor are you going to marry a bot, nor your bot's going to be your best friend. Hopefully that's not going to happen. Could happen in the future. We could talk about that's a whole nother show. But with that being said, I think that this in our industry, the most disruptive thing is loan officers. And I can get rid of a loan officer. I can get rid of here's underwriting. I can get rid of any of these ancillary jobs that are there because, issuing your docs, your mortgage docs. You could, anyone calling you up and asking you for documentation, all these people, you can just automate this all the way through. You can automate it through text, you can automate it through email, you can automate it through phone calls. It's all automated. And if I took a survey, and if you want to go for a survey, how many people would say, I can lower my rates by 1% today if I didn't have, I didn't have an underwriter out there paying, I didn't have a processor I was paying, I didn't have a loan dog drawer I was paying. If it lowered the rates 1%, would you rather have that person there helping you in the back end, or would you rather take the 1% down? And everyone's going to say the same thing. I'll take the 1%. Now, if you want to get rid of the loan officer, loan officers make what? Anywhere from 0.5% to 1% on each loan. And if they're not making the full percent, it's because the company is now having splits with them, or they're cooperating with advertising that's eating into it. With all that being said, I keep saying this, you can get this more, if I didn't have to deal with a loan officer and I didn't have to deal with any of the back end, if they took 1.5% or even 2% off of my mortgage interest rates, would that be okay? And I think that we're going to see a lot of people say, yes, if I could get a 4.8% today, the whole market would launch, right? So the question is that everyone's fighting for a job. Well, you need to be better at the job you're at, right? Loan officers cannot be, hey, I talk to someone on the phone and I send out an app link that shoots out to them, and then the processor's the one on the back end making phone calls. I can automate all of that to get their information. I can automate what your interest rates are. I can automate the conversation. Guys, this is happening, and this is how we can lower interest rates. And in the future, this is going to be a disruptive industry. Is going to be loan officers, and it's going to come quick. All right, what were the interest rates? Well, they're flat. 6.99 again, 0.00. FHA 0.00. You know, jumbo, again, it flies up and down like crazy. It's down 20 basis points. That's nuts. It's still not, and I think 30-year jumbo it's actually probably where it needs to be. 15-year conforming needs to be in the 5s, guys. No question. There's no discount from a 30 to a 15. Makes no sense, guys. It's not a big enough discount. So, all right, let's go take a look at it. Here is the 10-year bond. Went down slightly from 4.22 yesterday to 4.21. So I'm looking at, if I'm looking back at interest rates, we're probably not going to see a big difference. It'd be a bunch of zeros again. And everyone is sitting there waiting and anticipating for the Fed to talk tomorrow. And then we're going to see a volatile day. No question about it. PPI is coming out tomorrow. Fed's talking and going to see if they're raise or lower interest rates. It's going to be a crazy day. So this is going to be a Tuesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Let's get this going, Fed. Nothing. We want to keep it there. But more importantly, we want to hear a dovish, very dovish conversation afterwards about, hey, a lot of people are losing their jobs. Credit card debt is at $1.2 trillion, all-time high. Every month it's hitting all-time high. We're seeing car repos go through the roof. Bankruptcies are going through the roof. Guys, you have to take this in consideration. F the CPI. I can manipulate those numbers all day. If you took the federal government out of the CPI number, we would be at 2 or below. But the federal government's spending more money than anything and anybody, and they're causing GDP to go up. They're also causing inflation to go up. They are the problem. So with that being said, hope Powell sees that tomorrow. I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll do an analysis of it. You guys take care. Talk to you later.